Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Hashem Yahushua, Hashem Dash. Double honor them to the elder apostles of great Musa who rule well, and Shalom to the hopeful elect. This is Paya Allah. This is news and prophecy and news update. Today is, I believe it's the 23rd of September 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble. All right. Um, Give me one moment. Oh my days. So this is, update. Um, so I have a few articles here. I think I'm gonna touch on one and then go into the rest at a later date. And let's see how the spirit rolls. But first I wanna, this is the article I'm gonna go into from the Sun.co.uk. The headline reads Jeremy Clarkson, Hezbollah walkie-talkie blasts are chilling. What if they do? What if they did a cyber attack on a car accelerator? All right. In theory, Putin could take control of Sir Starmer's car and drive him at 150 miles per hour into a tree, all without leaving the Kremlin. Now, what what's kind of this is the devil being a devil, man. I don't care for Russia. I'm just I'm just more, it's kind of crazy because the example they use when the people that actually use it to put the power is, the Israelis, all right, Amalek, and those on the side of, they're not the people that are against them. This they're trying to make it a great travesty of something of great caution, but it's technology they're tapping into, and if anything, we've got to be more worried about, the powers that be in the quote unquote Western world, utilizing these powers to blow up our phones or blow up our car accelerators or boil, meters, smart boilers, and all this type of stuff. It's something of great caution. All right. So it says last week, if I had told you that it would be possible to make everyone's iPhone explode simultaneously, you'd have thought I had gone crackers. Now though, and this is the thing. This is as we see this gradualism come into play and things, snowball, day on day, moment to moment. We can see how, well, we've seen it because the Heavenly Father's opened our eyes and ears to this truth. But you can see how the common individual that's not privy to the word can see how this technology, all right, is going to a place where the depths of hell is just going to prevail over this earth, all right. As I says, I still can't quite get my head around the mind of a man who not only has the idea of blowing up people's pages and walkie-talkies, but then goes ahead and actually does it. All right. So if you see in the video of pages exploding and whatnot, they also had walkie-talkies. All right. So it says pages sabotage. Mossad surprise blitz on Hezbollah has trail running from Tepe to Budapest. Tel Aviv, Israel. Israel's Mossad hatches plan to cripple Hezbollah in mass sabotage strike. Uh, Taipei, Taiwan. Taiwanese firm Gold Apollo agrees to let Hungarian company back consulting produce pages. Beirut, Lebanon. Hezbollah orders terrorists use pages rather than mobile phones. Middle East, payment is made from mystery Middle East bank account to Gold Apollo for pages. Budapest, Hungary. Back chief exec insists they are an military and are not uh, and do not make pages themselves. Pages are packed with explosives somewhere on the supply chain. Thousands of pages explode in Lebanon. Walkie-talkies used by Hezbollah fighters also explode in second strike. All right. So the plan to blow up Hezbollah's technology was horrific and also very clever. Now the only thing is that if people just use pages in general, all right, or walkie-talkies in general, then you know, obviously what they're gonna say is, well, they said they're using pages. So if you have a pager or a walkie-talkie, for that fact, you're part of Hezbollah, all right. Which to their point, I mean, they have some validity, but at the same time, it may just be a thing where they say, oh, um, Israel's listening in on our phone calls and whatnot, you know, so page each other to so they don't um target you and whatnot. All right. So it says he's plainly warped and should be in prison, but he's also extremely clever, which is crazy for them to even say that. But hey, this is what they're saying. All right, because on one hand, that this is something that potentially could be a war crime, but at the same time, this is a clever how if it's potentially a war crime, how clever could it be then really? And now he's got us all thinking, what's next? We are told that the next generation of modern weapons will be super hypersonic drones and robot dogs that have machine guns instead of faces, and it all seems very fascinating. But in the light, but in the light of what happened in Lebanon, is such technology going to be necessary? At the moment, defense contractors, the tech giants in America, banks, and governments invest a colossal amount of time and money to ensure their systems can't be hacked. But do you have diabetes? And if so, do you have one of those pumps that electronically releases insulin when necessary? Handy, I'm sure, but I once spoke to a cybersecurity guy in Seattle, and he said he'd only need a laptop and an aerial to mess that up completely. All right, and do you have some and do you some serious harm? And it gets worse. Could you hack into a car? I asked. Oh Lord, 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 Lord. Ah, shit. I wouldn't even need an aerial for that, he replied. Almost all cars made in the last 5 or 10 years are able to receive weather and traffic information from space. All right, and it's not hard apparently to piggyback on this signal, which means someone can get into your car's electronic brain, and once they are in there, they can cause havoc. They could turn your radio up to full volume or the heater to the max. Right, and this was shown on a lower level when you deal with the movie Leave the World Behind, when they showed the Teslas basically um, was being sent from different showrooms, where from near and far. They were going one by one through the system and basically making all the cars on the showroom drive to or the specific freeways exits to from the city, basically clogging up all of the exits from the city with Tesla motors, and you'd see they'll be sent, there'll be time to be sent, one by one. So whether it be, I guess it would have been the closest showroom, for the sake of time, all right, to block up to clog up the motorway exits or the freeway exits, in a matter as soon as possible. So they sent the closest one, then the next one, then the other one, and they'll say, and who knows how far it could have been getting, they could have been coming from, all right, or who knows if they would have not prior to the event taking place, that he would have just found different plots of land or allotments and just dispatched 20, 20 there, 20 here, and then just say, right, we're going to send them off. All right, leave the world behind showed you that. All right, but this is actually dealing with you being in the car, and all these cars of the last 5 to 10 years have this capability as far as they could just, write it off as, you sped over the side of a cliff or something like that. And then lo and behold, they're saying, no, you must have lost control of the car, or you had a suicide, you had a death wish, depending on, your mind state and the type of person you are. All right, and the circumstance of how you die. So it says, that would be annoying, but worse, there's no physical link in a modern car between the accelerator and the engine. It's all done electronically, right? So that shows you right there. If someone wants to speed up the car, they have total control over it. Which means that someone sitting in a room thousands of miles away can decide how fast you should be going. You can get into a tank if you like, but the enemy will simply drive it into the sea. And you don't bother thinking that you could just switch the engine off because that's done electronically too. So you could stop. Now you understand why there's been such a push for electronic power as well. So it could stop you from doing that as well. All right, let me draw through these scriptures while they're in my mind actually. Um, that's one. Two. So reading on it says it says so it could stop you from doing that as well. This is not science fiction. Boffins have already done it. And this just goes back to I remember growing up with James Bond. They was like, when TV was a big thing, which it isn't as big as it is today. Over in the UK, they would show different documentaries, like going into like classic films within British culture or cinema, whether it be Hollywood or you know in the UK, or TV series or things of that nature. They'll go into a behind the scenes peek, and they basically were dealing with like they mentioned the undercund. They said with James Bond, a lot of the technology that Q was giving him, all right, was basically made, a few years after. But we know in reality, these people that had this information were privy to it. All right, they would have knew people within the ranks that had access to this technology, and then they'll give them this information. Yeah, spies. We have underwater cameras. We have this. We have that. And then basically you would have seen it on James Bond. Like, wow, in awe of it all. Unbeknownst to you and the general public and the audience, these things are already in operation. All right, that's like with a lot of technology, the things that they have that's being utilized behind the scenes, but unbeknownst to the masses, they're waiting for the right moment to bring it forth to the public, or maybe not. All right, maybe it's something that they need to have. You know, even when you deal with all these elites within the society, they have access to certain machines and things of that nature that basically allow them to live longer, have a better shot in life, and things that of that nature. And when I say better shot in life, I mean better health and things of that nature. All right. So it says this means that in theory, Putin could take control of Sir Starmer's car and drive him at 150 miles per hour into a tree, and without leaving the Kremlin. So now, man, it's just funny because we know it's propaganda at the end of the day. But the guy that he's speaking to is someone in Seattle. So this is someone based in America. All right, this is tech giants based in America. Obviously, this is something that I would imagine is a a global phenomenon as far as the American side have it auto align with America. The B system, America, NATO, and the EU. The chief nations of that grouping will have access to this technology, just as the Russians and whatnot will have as well. So they're making trying to say, oh, they could do this to, the prime minister and things like that. Who's to say they try to do this to Putin and whatnot? All right. Who's to say who's to say this technology hasn't been utilized on certain spares or certain key players within the warfare that's presently going on? All right. So it says certainly, if I was in Hezbollah, I wouldn't be driving a car anytime soon, because you can bet your bottom dollar Mossad are working on ways to of making sure your journey won't be all that comfortable, right? So it's irritating me, but it's just because I'm just looking at this devil and thinking you're the ones that are doing this shit, all right? You're the ones that's utilizing this technology, but you're trying to throw it on the other side. And granted, like I said, I don't care about the Russians. I ain't. As far as I'm concerned, I'm on the side of Yahweh Bar Shem Yahweh Shai Bar Shem Harakar Kudash. I'm hoping for salvation. And if anything, the Russians and World War Three coming into play is more of a thing of a benefit because it just leads straight up into the kingdom of heaven. All right, but it's just this fork tongue business, words being smoother than butter. So reading on it says, this then I think is where modern warfare is heading. You can get into a tank if you like, but the enemy will simply drive it into the sea. In the sort of truly socialist world that Sir Starmer has dreamed of his entire life, there would be no swanky director's box at Arsenal. All of the fans, Corbyn and Morgan included, would be in the cold in the stands and everyone else, because all the animals are equal, but some, as we know, are more equal than others. And as a result, our glorious leader says he needs to be in a warm room with nice sandwiches. He argues that it would be too difficult for his security team to operate in stands. Yes, Napoleon, but let's not forget that when Snowball Sinak was running the show, he used to watch his beloved Southampton from the stands. So now they want to, rate, say, Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak. Rishi Sunak. And his security guys seem to manage. And mind you, this guy's, East Indian. All right. And if you saw any of the rhetoric that was being blurted over the internet, there was a lot of racial slurs and, things of that nature that really would have really shows he had a bigger target on his back than this individual known as Keir Starmer. 3 weeks ago, I put a list on the notice board of my new pub to say Sir Starmer and James May are both banned. Now I've received an email from a young lady in Dorset to say her boyfriend has been cheating on her and she wants him banned as well. I love to help, of course, but someone has stolen the list along with all the light bulbs from the men's lavatory and most of the glasses. All right, so let's see where this is going. I think that's more or less it. Let me try and pick out any other points. Yeah, that's more or less it. So let's go with this, man. I got a couple scriptures to just get through. I had to bookmark them. Start this one first. So this is the book of Ezekiel 28 and 2. It says, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, Thus saith the Lord power Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am the Most High. I sit in the seat of the Most High in the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man and not the Most High. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of the Most High, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. Right, so this king of Tyrus, this is, as with most of the prophecies of the most of the prophetic words of the Bible, they have they can be applied on multiple in at multiple times. This was once applied to the prince of Tyrus at, during his time, but now the king of Tyrus of today is who? The Edomites, all right, who have reassumed rule over the earth. Okay, they've taken over once again as ruling, just like in the time of the Romans, and this so-called white man basically governs the whole earth and is a leader. All right, with that being the case, this is leadership is getting to his head, starting with the elites of this world. Because really, we ain't talking about no Keir Starmer, Rishi Sunak, um, Joe Biden. They're really puppets. They're figureheads that speak on behalf of the elites of this world, dealing with the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, DuPonts, Gays, the rich banking elite family. Families that govern the earth, that have power and control. They have a god complex, all right, and that's why everything you see going on presently, speaking about with this, the show of power in terms through Mossad, through exploding pages and walkie-talkies, and the fact that tech guys over in Seattle can take control of your car and different electronical goods, all right, really just shows you how much power they have and control. It's to the point as if they're gods upon the earth. All right, we're talking about, if you would have seen before the invention of all this electronic technology, if you was driving a car down a road and then someone just made your car come to a cease, or better yet, took control over your car, made you drive over a bridge, you'd say that that guy is like a superhero, or like he's a super villain, an individual with superpowers or whatnot, all right, or a god, okay. And that's what this man has basically done. He's basically made a world in where by his power he governs it and he has control. So let's read this verse 3. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret they can hide from thee. Right, and this technology has allowed, his wisdom has allowed him to be wiser than Daniel. All right, Daniel was a very extremely wise man in his time. All right, but now the time that we're in, this is the time of Esau, Edom. All right, the so-called white man as he's known today, which is the descendants of Esau, Edom, and he's governing the world as it is right now. And in his governance of the earth, he basically, he's wise. All right, a lot of the things he's doing, unless the only thing that rivals um his knowledge or his wisdom is these prophetic words. All right, the words of the Bible. That's why they have mass blackouts on the internet, shadow banning on these words. With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. Right. So through this use of wisdom, it's allowed him to make great abundance of wealth. Because even now, when you deal with the information age that we're presently in, they're mining data, all right, from the masses of the people. So they're forming profiles, data profiles on the individuals within the earth, whereby they can profile you and then set up algorithms to basically sell products to you, or basically monetize the information they have, whether it be through presenting certain, going to certain advertising companies, or go betweens, not go betweens. What's the word I'm looking for? Like bridging the gap, basically. Having being a consultant for one company to another and say, oh, you want to make money or you want to send out a message? We've got this information. All right, this is the type of people that would be interested in that, and they'll buy it often. That's one of the ways they make money. And there's multiple other ways they make money. All right. Verse 4: With thy wisdom and with thine understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Because thus saith the Lord power, because thou hast set thine heart as a heart of the Most High. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Right. So this is where we're at right now. So let me read from verse 6 again. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, Yahweh, because thou hast set thine heart as a heart of the Most High, right? Because of this great pride that Esau Edom has taken upon himself, right, to think he's the Most High. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, right? And this goes into the book of Joel, where it says, let the weak say I'm strong. These nations that were once known as second and third world countries, right, vassal states unto the West, the European nations during the time of imperialism, they're now on the come up, right? When you deal with blocks like bricks, all right? A unification of nations is what I mean by a block. So when you like, they may come together for the sake of finances, warfare, whatever. But the BRICS, for example, being Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, they've come together and they've got various other nations that are wanting to side with them. I haven't really looked into them for a minute, but I do remember having a lot of applications with other nations that were more or less rivaling what the EU has. All right, these nations are now, becoming somewhat of a power. All right, and beyond their monetary, their financial gain, and their power and ability, they're also now, funneling money into their weapons of warfare. All right, and that's spoken about in the book of Joel as well. All right, about beating their plowshares into spears. All right, and their pruning hooks into swords. Right, that's the spirit that's being put on them via this prophetic words that the Heavenly Father spoke. And they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. Right. So let's move into this. Uh, Next precept. This is the book of Luke 16. 16, and I'll start from 1. And he said also unto his disciples, there was a certain rich man which had a steward, and the same was accused unto him that he had wasted his goods. And he called him and said unto him, how is it that I hear this of thee? Give an account of thy stewardship, and thou mayest be no longer steward. Right. So basically, we have is this rich man, and he has a steward. Basically, you could say it's a personal assistant. When a personal assistant that governs his goods. Sorry, someone that has control over his products, all his wealth. All right, and it was found out that he basically was, messy. He fucked up the count. Right, all of his goods weren't accounted for. So he told the steward, like, look, you're gonna explain yourself as to why this has happened, and then pack your bags and keep it moving. Verse 3. Then the steward said within himself, what shall I do? For my Lord taketh away from me the stewardship. So he's got no job. All right, he ain't gonna be able to take care of himself. I cannot dig. All right, so he can't do a laborsome job. To beg, I am ashamed. All right, this is a man with, somewhat renown. To see him begging would be a shameful place for him to fall into. I am resolved what to do. So, eureka, he knows what he's going to do. That when I am put out of the stewardship, they may receive me into their houses. So he called every one of the Lord's debtors unto him, and said unto the first, How much owest thou unto my Lord? And he said, 100 measures of oil. And he said unto him, Take thy bill and sit down quickly and write 50. Right. So he, with one of the guys that owed money unto his Lord, he basically said, like, look, I'll give you a 50% discount, all right, in the records. So you save your, like, the measure that you have to pay is half. Verse 7. Then said he then said he to another, And how much owest thou? And he said, 100 measures of wheat. And he said unto him, Take thy bill and write fourscore. So he said, instead of owing 100, say you owe 80. All right. So he gave him a 20% discount, so to speak. And the Lord commended the unjust steward because he had done wisely. All right. He basically he done wise in that he set himself up with another opportunity once he loses his job. All right. That was the wise move he made. And this is the point, for the children of this world are in their generation, right, are in this present time, wiser than the children of light. So that's speaking to the children of Esau. All right, the ruler, those that govern the earth, they're wise. All right, that's why they know how to utilize the banking system, the investment system, the work system. They know all the ins and outs as far as how to, whether it be going to like a tribunal, how to utilize the unions, the HR department, things of this nature, how to, create leverage and different things of that nature. Maybe to get someone up out of the way, to get promotions, things of that nature. They know how to utilize this world. And rightly so, because it's their world. All right. But when it says, as opposed to the children of light, the children of Israel, the so called Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and all of our people scattered throughout the earth, they are not so privy to that information. All right, they're not that wise when it comes to those kind of things. Verse 9. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of mammon, of unrighteousness, that when ye fall, they may receive you to everlasting habitations. So that's what the Lord exhorted unto us, exhorted us to do. All right, to basically, have friends of mammon, so that we too can follow in that stead. All right, but the point being, the reason why I read this is the children of this world are wiser than the children of light. This is why they're able to utilize this technology in the manner they do. Even the word technology, even itself, goes back to tech, tech, technique, and ology, study of technique, which is skill. I forget why am I saying that? Um, there's a point I was gonna say, it just slipped from me right at that moment. But basically, this man, he just knows how to do his thing, man. He knows how to be a slippery serpent. All right, and technology is the main um conduit, or the main tool that he's gonna use to express, that slippery, sly ability that he has in his wisdom. And the ultimate form of that all is a sea hip. All right, that's the main thing. Because the way it's going to be presented, you are someone now, would you take a chip? And most people say, hell no, I wouldn't do that. But then it's about the presentation, it's about the circumstance, the context, how it's presented to you. It makes you, just like with the Maxine, all right, the jumper, the J. What happened? Most people were saying they weren't going to take it, but then they presented certain scenarios, they caved in and said, you know what, give me that shit. All right, I want my life to be how it's always been. All right, and then lo and behold, after the fact, you saw that those that didn't bow the knee, they could afterwards go and sue their companies. Were entitled to all kinds of uh, back payments and payment due to the fact that it wasn't a lawful thing being done. But the point being is, this man is wise. He has a great wisdom with his technology, and we are not ignorant of Satan's devices. All right, which you need to be privy to in order to withstand the wiles of the devil. I want to end on this. This is Daniel 12 and 1 says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to the same time, and at that time thy people shall be delivered. Let me slow down. I'm doing too much, man. All right, so it says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, right? Michael, the archangel, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never since was a nation, even of that same time. Now, that time of trouble that's being spoke of is the time of Jacob's trouble. It's the time of the hour of temptation, all right, where the whole world is going to be tempted, but more so than anyone, all right, it's for the time of Jacob's trouble, because we're all going to be tempted, but really it's for the sake of this man Esau Edom to establish his power over the earth and get rid of Jacob, all right, and that's why it'll be a time of Jacob's trouble, such as never, and it's going to be the time like you've never seen before, all right. And you think about World War III, they named it the war to end all wars. All right, you have people shell shocked, different forms of trauma being experienced by people on the earth and during that time. So imagine this time that we're heading into, the things you're gonna see, whether it be robots jumping out the sky, drones kamikazing and just exploding on people, great to horrific acts. It may be like drones just sneaking up on people and shooting lasers into their head. Imagine stumbling across someone and they got like their faces like singed with laser burns through their head, and you can look into their head and see the holes to the other side. Some horrific things, man. Right? Or people being imploded by like sonic waves, or rail guns and things of that nature. All right, there's tech that this man's got that is just out of this world, unbelievable. All right, so it says such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And that's what it's all about, man. All right. If your name is not written in that book, hey, salvation ain't for you, man. And that's why we do this work. And because ultimately, you could be doing this work and your name could not be written in the book. But the fact that you're doing this work really, for the most part, will show that your name is written in the book, right? Because the names of the people written in the book are the ones that would be doing the work. And that's why, as only we play, Slakia. We pray that we endure unto the end. All right, and that would mean our name is written and found in the book of life. Verse 2: And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. All right, so all of those that sleep, the ones that died in his faith, they're gonna be brought up again, back into life. All right, back into the flesh. Um, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So the reincarnation. All right, the ones that will be brought, but everlasting life, they'll be caught up with. They'll be beamed up first, and the ones on earth will be caught up with them to meet Yahushua and the chariots. But then those that will, die in, everlasting, that wake up to everlasting content, will basically be reincarnated into the kingdom and have their head hung in shame. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Now, this being the point. But thou, O Daniel, sharp the word and seal the book, even unto the time of the end. So the book has been opened, all right. It's not sealed no more. And that's because we are in the time of the end. That's one of the sure signs, the surefire signs as far as showing that we're in the time of the end. All right. This is why when people say things like, "Oh, the Bible said it's the end times forever," they said that this is going to happen. That was the end times, isn't it? But you don't understand the content. You haven't read the Bible, all right, in its entirety, or more so beyond its entirety, to the points that would show you that we're in that time. All right. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And that's even more of an insight as far as the time of the end. Because it said, many shall run to and fro, and it's been a point as to why I read it, and knowledge shall be increased. What time are we in? In this generation that we presently live in? The information age. And the reason why it's called the information age is because of the abundance of information on offer to the masses of the people. All right, that really shows you that has been increased, and that's why the technology is moving in the direction it's moving, ultimately to fulfill the prophecies about the MOTB, all right, thermonuclear warfare, and Jacob's trouble. All right, all these things need to happen, but there's certain things that need to be put in place as far as allowing these prophecies to come to fruition. But this just shows you all this technology that's happening, all these powers that this man has, it's just for the time of the end. So with that, man, I pray you're edified and built up in the faith. You can see these things that are happening are showing that we're a lot more closer to the end. All right, we're knocking on the door as far as coming into the kingdom of heaven. So with that, I pray you're edified to the next one. See you, shalom, shalom.